Rich said to me, what do you think about doing a summer camp? And that was between Holly Lergio and himself, the spark that kind of got this whole thing going of rejuvenating that part of the airport. That aspect of the airport being able to give back to the community. Our desire was to give these kids an opportunity to come in, touch the aircraft, get in the aircraft, find out what made the aircraft fly, but more so to find out what opportunities there were in aviation. And that's, from my point of view, that was the most important piece. But it's so wonderful to see some of the kids that we had who were in age range from 12 to 15, and some had a point of focus on what they might want to do with aviation as far as flying. Others were exploring what other stuff went on in aviation as far as air traffic control, maintenance, that types of thing, or anything like that. But I think in their head, they all had this personal vision of what a pilot does. And our job, I felt, for that week was to enhance that. Like you say, hook them a little bit, hook them in and say, okay, here's what a pilot can do. And at the same time, though, the other thing I wanted to get across to them, and our focus throughout the camp, was the responsibility that carries, and as much fun as it is, and as much fun as you can have, when you really get down to the core of it, it's a matter of having to get into the books, having to read and learn what's there that makes the aircraft fly, having to listen to somebody else who has more knowledge than you that's able to teach you how to do that and enhance that skill. So, and I was impressed with the way they handled it. It was that trying to develop that balance between, yes, we have to be serious about what we're doing, we have to worry about safety, around the aircraft and around the airport, but at the same time too, you're here to have some fun. And I think once they get in the aircraft and got to start the aircraft, taxi the thing around a little bit and get ready for the flight, they keyed right in. Civil Air Patrol is a civil program. It's under the care and guidance of the Air Force, but it still originally was the Civilian Air Patrol. That's where, in fact, Mary Shea gave me a whole history on how it originated. Hampers the students with information on, again, another aspect of aviation. So, but just to let them know that you have to make good choices, and the choices that you make now when you're 12 to 15 years old can affect what you're able to do if you're 20 and 25 and want to go into a career field. So, but when you get in that cockpit and you've got all those gauges sitting in front of you and you're able to grab that yoke, it's an awesome responsibility as well. Not just for yourself, but for the passengers that you have or whatever you might be doing. So, my main concern was to have these kids walk away from camp with the desire to at least explore what can happen in aviation.
Yeah, seatbelts are on this checklist. It's funny.
Well, it's just a liability thing, I'll bet.
Yeah. Master switch comes on, and switch. Yep. And fuel pump. Also, you got that on.
I first went up and I was doing the takeoff. I thought my first lesson that the instructor was going to take off. So we're at the end of the runway, and he says, "All right, go ahead, push the throttle forward and take off." I'm going like, "Okay." And we got above the tree line, and it was just amazing how much you could see, and just knowing that you were in control of the airplane and you could pretty much do whatever you wanted, and it was fun. It's a remarkable experience. I've been up in 4 different airplanes, and I have 2 hours of actually taking the controls of the airplane from takeoff to landing, and it's been really cool. We did part of the class studying aerodynamics and just how an airplane flies, and then we split up into 3 different groups, and one group went upstairs over there to work on the flight simulator and instrument flight, so learning how to work the instruments of the airplane. And then one group went downstairs into the classroom where we worked on navigation and getting the airplane from point A to point B, because on Friday we're going to be flying from here to Westfield and back, so we got to know how to get there. So, and then the third group came in here to the hangar and learned about the pre-flight of the airplanes. It's all exciting, and the knowledge that all of this is going to help you know how to fly a plane eventually someday. Well, I have a Microsoft Flight Simulator at home for my computer, and I fly out of this airport all the time because it's just fun. It's got a long enough runway for most of the planes I like to fly, and it's just an easy airport to find on the map. You should come to camp here, because even if you're not interested in aviation, it's a cool thing to learn, because if you ever get the chance to sit in the pilot seat someday and someone says, "Here, take the controls, see what you know," and then you actually know something and you can wow them.